Alright everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is your internet wrestling champion here, back again with another video. And today, I'm going to be covering my WrestleMania 42 predictions. Let's get into it. Alright, so first off, we have the 6-man tag match between The Vision and IShowSpeed and LA Knight and the Usos. Alright, so right off the rip, I think of all the celebrity programs that we've got going on simultaneously in the WWE right now, this one has to be my favorite because IShowSpeed has actually been totally committed to just playing his role, you know? The storyline just seems to be the most seamless. He actually looks like he belongs there, and he leans into the fact that he's an influencer, not a wrestler. And I don't mean to bash on Jelly Roll. I just really have been enjoying the IShowSpeed work a lot more than all the celebrity stuff, and it really seems natural. Maybe it's the storyline, maybe it's just Raw right now, you know, Raw's been cooking. But as for my prediction, I think that somewhere in the match, during all the chicanery going down, IShowSpeed is gonna end up putting his foot down and standing up to the Vision against Austin Theory and Logan Paul and saying enough is enough, I don't even want to be a part of this. And I think he's gonna help LA Knight and the Usos get one over on the Vision. So my prediction is that LA Knight and the Usos are gonna come out victorious via help from IShowSpeed. I'm actually really curious to see what kind of performance Speed is gonna put on at the show, you know, because I don't know if anybody was prepared to see Logan Paul perform as well and as smoothly in the ring as he had. But now that he had set sort of a high bar, you know, and because Speed, well, he's an athletic specimen in my opinion, you know. I like the guy's fast, you know. His name is Speed for a reason. And he was so close to Logan Paul's orbit throughout both of their careers. I kind of have a similar expectation for Speed, and admittedly, it's probably not fair. I shouldn't project that onto him. But all in all, I do think it's gonna make for an interesting opener for night one of WrestleMania. All right, next up, we have the Women's Tag Team Championship match, which is a fatal four-way. So we have Nia Jax and Lash Legend, the defending champions, obviously. And then we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus the Bella Twins. So a fatal four-way match. I guess like the build has been like 2-3 months in the making for all of these people, low-key. Even the Bella Twins, they were kind of sprinkling that back in like November. So a few months build, which I respect. It's pretty good. It's probably one of the more exciting matches for night one, in my honest opinion, because anytime there's a fatal four-way match, especially with women like Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss and Bayley in there, you know, this is gonna be like a knockdown, drag-out fight, and I'm excited for that. In terms of my prediction, I think, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're gonna get a heel turn from Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, and they're gonna end up picking up the championship. I mean, we're getting a Sami Zayn heel turn right in front of our eyes organically, you know? So anything is possible right now. So I am gonna be bold and say that those two are gonna turn heel and snatch the titles. And I like to see it back on those two. I like it on Charlotte and Alexa. I think they've been carrying the title very well for about a year in 2025. And I like to see it again on Charlotte and Alexa, but this time as heels. And I like to see how that dynamic plays out. All right, and now we have AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now this one is a dream match for me because these are literally my two favorite women's wrestlers of all time. So this is a long time coming, and I'm very excited for this one. As for my prediction, honestly, I don't know. This is a toss-up. Like, they're all really close to call. They're not as predictable as last year's WrestleMania was. However, I don't think they're as exciting. Well, actually, no. They're both equally terrible, in my honest opinion. But, you know, I'm still gonna watch. I'm a lifelong fan. Anyways, in terms of the Women's Intercontinental Championship match, it makes the most sense for Becky to win. I think she's the more consistent talent out of the two. in terms of who's gonna show up for dates and stuff like that. So it makes sense for Becky to win. And also, like, if AJ was gonna win, they wouldn't have just let her win at Elimination Chamber, right? They would have just built it up and let AJ win at WrestleMania. That's also why I think Becky Lynch was set up to take the belt back at WrestleMania and just carry it moving forward. But I do like AJ Lee better. Don't get me wrong, she's my all-time favorite, just one of my favorite wrestlers, period. So as much as it hurts me to say, I think Becky Lynch is the right call and is going to be the person to walk out of WrestleMania 42 as the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Next up, we got the Samoan Werewolf versus the Scottish Psychopath. We have Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre in an unsanctioned match, and holy hell, this thing is gonna be brutal. I think between the Oba and Brock fight and this one, like I don't know which one is gonna win match of the night, but for night one, this one is definitely my most excited match. I don't know how violent these guys are gonna get. I just know it's gonna be violent, and I really hope they bring blood in for this match, because none of them really need blood to further the narrative in the story or program. But this match, you make it bloody, you can make it both people come out as a face, and I really want to see Drew as a face again. But make it bloody and do what you did with 2024 Hell in a Cell, just utilize it well to further the narrative of the match, tell a good story with the blood. And I think these two together especially can do exactly that. Now, as for my prediction, I think it's going to be Jacob Fatu when all is said and done that's going to be coming out victorious in this match. I think Drew McIntyre is going to hit him with a bunch of shit that we've never seen from either of them before. And somehow Fatu is just going to get up, shake it off, and probably swanton Drew through a table or two tables, and he's going to put Drew McIntyre away. And this is going to catapult him into the World Heavyweight Championship scene in the post-WrestleMania season. Now, next up, our second to last match. It is Seth Rollins versus Gunther, and not really sure how we got here, to be honest. I don't think anybody really knows. I think we can all infer. I think we are all on the same, we're taking the same gamble, and we're all saying that Gunther is going to use this to try to get a match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam this year. That's what I think, and he's going to try to retire Brock Lesnar. I think he will retire Brock Lesnar. But yeah, I'm not sure how Gunther got shoehorned into this entire storyline. But I guess that's par for the course when 2/3 of your roster is injured and 2/3 of the story is injured, right? If you look back in October, I made a video about this saying that the injury rates is a real problem in the WWE, and now look what's happened. Somehow it has led to Pat McAfee being in the main event of WrestleMania 42. I'm really not sure how we came to this. This has been the most bizarre build-up for a WrestleMania I've seen ever. I'm really hoping it's a WrestleMania 31 type of situation where the build-up is just baffling, but the payoff was all-time. I don't think it's going to be like that, but, you never know. I do think it has a potential to be a mid-WrestleMania, which is better than everyone's expecting right now. So, something in my gut tells me that I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to make this prediction anyways because it just makes the most sense. I think Gunther is going to come out the winner of this match, and I think he's going to put Seth Rollins to sleep. And I think it's the only thing that really makes sense because Seth Rollins winning this match doesn't close the storyline between him and The Vision. He still has the tag team champions who aren't even in the match. And then he has Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker for whenever they return. So I think the sensible booking decision here is let the tag team champions get involved, and let Seth Rollins get distracted by Paul Heyman and The Vision. And during all that chicanery, Gunther can slide right on in, put him in the sleeper hold, and then put him to sleep, which doesn't really hurt Seth Rollins' credibility because he's a legend now. He's a living legend. He can afford to put people over, especially someone like Gunther, and especially if he gets distracted. And also, this propels Gunther forward because that just racks up one other person in his kill list. They've never gone toe-to-toe before. So this will only build his credibility going into SummerSlam if he does choose to cash in a favor, and that favor being fighting Brock Lesnar in a retirement match. Which, let's all be honest, that's probably what it is. That's the best thing to do. But yeah, that's my prediction for this match. I think Gunther is going to win. He's going to put him to sleep via distraction from The Vision. And I think this is going to segue into a SummerSlam payoff for both the Vision story and the Brock Lesnar versus Gunter match. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the main event of night one of WrestleMania 42. It's Pat McAfee versus Jelly Roll. Yes, for the Universal Championship, celebrity versus podcaster, and it is probably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, just like last year's WrestleMania, just like the other WrestleMania main event that's gonna happen the night after. You know, it's just legendary. Ticket sales are up, business is booming, and we couldn't be happier as fans. Really, this is Jelly Roll versus Jesus, the way that Pat McAfee is just saving our business, you know? That man is the Lord and Savior of 2026, and he's come to usher in a new era of wrestling, and he's gonna put down the dastardly Jelly Roll and put him out for good. I hope he breaks his legs. So it's gonna be Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the Universal title. And honestly, I'm not excited for this match at all, and I know nobody else is. And I think we all know what the predictions are, especially with the new leaks. I don't know if you've seen them about the Backlash match between Pat McAfee and Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll. If that is confirmed to be true, then it only makes sense that Randy Orton wins the title. And I think they're following a very similar formula and script as last year as well. So I think Randy Orton's gonna win the title off of Cody Rhodes. It's so predictable. Yeah, you know, there's really nothing else I could say. I'm sorry, you know, this is not the most well-written main event for WrestleMania, not by a long shot. It's actually by far one of the worst written stories for WrestleMania in a long time, if not ever. So my prediction, Randy Orton will take the title, and it's just a matter of how at this point, because I don't see why he would turn heel, get McAfee on board, and then lose at WrestleMania. I wouldn't know what the payoff to that is. So we'll see what goes on after WrestleMania, how that whole development goes. But as for the main event of night one, I think it's going to be Randy Orton winning the title. So there you have it, guys. Those were my predictions for night one of WrestleMania 42. And what do you guys think? You know, I know the build hasn't been stellar. I think we can all agree on that. But I would like to get your takes on the matches so far. Which night do you think is more exciting? What are your predictions for this year? And yeah, what are your thoughts on the building and the road to WrestleMania and the involvement of TKO and Pat McAfee? Who do you think is going to win? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you disagree with my takes, if you agree with my takes. And